Hey everybody, I'm APH. Welcome back to Kingdoms Reborn in the Jungle Fever playthrough. Now, taking a look between episodes, I'm thinking that we want to walk away right here. This means that this storage yard and this farm need to move at some point in time. We've also struggled with the fact that we're not producing enough medical herbs. Let's go ahead and pause it for a second as we get going. We're not producing enough medical herbs to actually maintain. And so to kind of mitigate that, we are going to place a farm down in here. So let's go ahead and plop that down now. And we're going to try to stay with one builder until the winter. And we're going to go ahead and place medical here as well. So let's, keep that medical. Let's go ahead and change this over to just medical to make sure that we're producing enough. And just going to take a quick peek at these just to make sure that I set them all up correctly. Yeah, looks like those are all good. Now, for the town center, we're going to go ahead and do the upgrade, and we're going to take jungle herbs, which is an extra 30%, because moving forward, we want to get to where we have enough medical herbs to last from one season to the other. Let's go ahead and take that. Let's go ahead and submit that. And then our stone tools finished at the end of the last episode. And we want to buff this up as high as possible. So let's grab 2 of these passion, drop them in. Speed up time up to 4, and what we're going to look for is another stone tool workshop as well as a pig farm. So nothing in there. We've got nothing in there, and in here, there's our stone tools. Nothing really that we want in here. There's our pig. We'll take the fruit for the future. And taking a look at beer, we actually probably should switch back to influence. I think that's going to be pretty important going forward. And let's buy this province right here. Now, we want the pig in here. And I'm thinking like butted like right there. As we take a look at the, let's pause it real quick and check our actual tech. Let's go for quarry improvements, as that will help our quarry maintain. And switching off our tree overlay, it looks like we got an infertile area right there. So we'll look at probably like right here. Drop in our fertility. Let's plan on a road coming this way, a road coming this way, an actual storage yard right here just for pork. And from there, we're going to try to place a house right above it. As taking a look, we're right underneath our actual cap there. So we're going to disallow this until we find some stone, place the house right here. From here, where we're going to look at is placing the stone tools butted up against our charcoal, placing some roads kind of to bring this all together. Yeah, check that out. That looks pretty good. Let's bring 2 more and then place our storage yard for our tools right here. Now, we are midsummer, so we're going to try to watch this really closely. As winter hits, we want everybody on building, but only for like a hot moment. That looks good. Let's go ahead and unpause, bring back our trees, and we want to hold out now as everything kind of gets going. Taking a look at the quarry, wide shaft is 50%. The actual improved shaft is 300 gold. So, I mean, between the stones and the gold, I think this is something we need to work towards to try to get this to be maybe a batch of 21 versus a batch of 14. I think that's going to be pretty important going forward. We're going to keep builders at 1 until winter, and let's hopefully get a big enough harvest this season to hopefully get enough to maintain till next season. I wish we could buff them, but we can't. And speaking of that, we've got 30 people. Let's go ahead and pick up 1 more labor. Taking a look at our job priorities, let's refuse that. Let's move the fruit gather below the farm and the pig ranch. I think that's pretty important. Let's bring the forester below the quarry and below the stone tools, and let's bring the charcoal below. Now, you'll notice that we've got a charcoal, and that's because one of them This one is actually set up to where it produces no matter what, as long as we aren't at our limit. Let's bump the limit up to 600 as we've got this coal yard just finished. Taking a look at our cards that we want 2 sustainability for this coal yard. We're going to want passion books for this quarry, and I keep clicking on this tree. So let's eliminate that tree just so it doesn't keep being it is Kingdoms Reborn clickbait. And let's gather all of this stone as we're midwinter. Let's pause it real quick as we gather that, and let's move up. Let's do, an extra 4. And we'll speed boost the house. Then we'll speed boost these just to kind of get them going, as we've got a little bit of stone. And as soon as we kind of hit late winter, we'll drop them back down so that we only have 1. Because what we don't want... Yeah, all right, we're late winter. Let's go ahead and cancel all of the gathering so that people can start returning back home. We got an okay amount of stone, and I think that's enough to finish, the actual workshop there. Let's drop these back down to 1. That way everybody returns home so that hopefully they can start their jobs, and we've got some medical herbs, knock on whatever, we can find, knock on wood, as we say. We have enough going forward to actually get to next fall. Now from there, what we're going to look at is I'd like to get cannabis somewhere. We're going to take the wild card as just kind of sorting through them is just not a thing. And let's not show the message again. We do want some more fruit gatherers. We want another forester because we do want to pick up this, as well as we want to pick up this. And I think that this area right here is going to be first, as we need more houses going forward. Speaking of more houses, we're at our 2 under our limit, but when we take the immigrants in a second here, we're going to be 1 over. Let's take the passion book. It's going to go into the actual quarry. Let's look at a house right here. And we'll try to, because there's like a ledge here. I wanted to place it up against there, but I think spacing it here, placing a road. Yeah, it's taken forever to build these roads, probably because of the fact that it's so far to walk and we don't have a good path here. And look, we're mid-spring. These are almost completely planted. So we're in good shape. We've got mid-spring. We've actually got just a touch of actual medical herbs going forward, because once people get sick, it's game over. Their productivity just drops like a rock. So this is the next one. We're at 13 influence right now. We want to get to cannabis, and what I'm thinking is if we place a cannabis right here, I think there's enough room right here for a granary in the future, which would buff all of these, as well as maybe touch on one of those. And let's place a storage yard. Let's do a 4x right there, and let's set that up just to cannabis. And speaking of just to cannabis, this probably defaulted as medical. Let's switch that to cannabis. And looking at this, it looks like we're starting to hit a point where we're running out of room. Now, we do have this set to just... no, we don't. We do not have a storage just for wood. Okay. So we might have to set up a storage for just wood, because I'm thinking this will hold a total of 12 leather, and we're coming up on the halfway point. And that scares me a little bit. We've got some stone, so let's go ahead and, once this house finishes, let's go ahead and speed boost it. We'll go ahead and build this pig ranch for another good, solid food source, as we've already got the rest of it set up. And why are we not producing coal? Let's upgrade the guild for the extra 10%. No, we're not going to take the caravan. The house is done. Let's go ahead and start on the farm, on the pig ranch there. And And it looks like we're able to buy this with influence now. So let's go ahead and claim that. That was our quarry upgrade. Let's take beer brewing in order to start getting to agricultural revolution. Then we're going to go sheep and mushroom. Now, before we do beer brewing, we have to unlock wheat, as we're not going to have oranges until we get pretty far down. And I'm not sure going with oranges would be any better than actually going with wheat, as there's going to be some upgrades that kind of play into that. Let's look at placing a road up this way, and we'll look at, well, these farms have not quite built yet. We are midwinter. Let's bump up to one more builder. Look at that. We're okay for right now. Let's buff this. And I really want this to build, so let's prioritize. All right, let's take two more. Let's buff this in the hopes that before late winter. There we go. And let's go ahead and drop this back down. And this should actually allow that to finish too. These guys are still working. That's okay. Early game, sometimes it's a little micromanagey as we've got to keep things moving, and we are on the cusp of coming up on 40, and we're going to want another labor as we hit 40, as they're kind of the backbones of our industry layout. Look at that. Instantly planting stuff. I don't see where this farmer is, but they might be coming. Getting a lot of fruit. Let's spend the points boosting up our actual farms, our fruit gatherers there. That looks good. Try to get as much fruit early on, and what I'm thinking is we'll take the immigrants, as we're not quite to our cap yet. We'll take the sustainability as the productivity I really don't care for, and we'll place that in this coal yard. Make it even more efficient. We should probably take conservation. I don't want to spend money is what I don't want to do. We'll wait on that. We've got one storage yard here. I'm thinking it's time that we go ahead and hide the trees. Frame this in so that we don't have a tree grow on a spot that blocks one of these. And we're going to place another storage yard right here just to expand this out. So we, instead of holding 400 in the one location, we hold 800 in total. That way we don't get locked where right now this is where we're storing a lot of the extra. We don't get locked where we just aren't able to store it all. Let's go ahead and unpause time, and let's place a storage yard right here, and this is going to be just leather. You know what? Let's not do leather here. Let's do wood here. And then what we'll do is over here, we're going to go ahead and disallow wood once that one's built. But it's going to take time because we only have one builder, and they're trying to maintain building the actual pig, which is pretty important, as if you've seen the Savannah playthrough, which I didn't call it a season because it was kind of a challenge, which this is kind of a challenge too, but it's a little bit different. If you saw the Savannah playthrough, one pig ranch without any buffs at all produces about 400 food per season. And 400 food is enough to sustain 5 people, which makes pig ranches one worker potentially the best food in the game. It gets very micromanagey with labor, and you almost need to have where haulers are a thing in the Middle Age. So that's going to be something we're going to look at. And hey, look at this. We've got cannabis. Not quite there yet with our storage for it, so that's going to have to be a thing soon here. But it looks like we're late summer, and let's buff that. Let's try to get some more stone. Let's get sheep just so we're in the track to get to the Middle Age. We don't want the beer brewery yet because of reasons we discussed, and let's go ahead and buff that. Now, thankfully, we're in an okay shape right now for stone, but we want to keep that way. And yeah, let's spend the 300 for the improved. It will take it from, what is it, 20 a batch to 23. I think it does about 12 cycles a year, so that's an extra 36 per year. It's not a terrible amount, but it adds up is what I'm getting at. caravan. We're going to go ahead and pass on that as it defeats the purpose of this playthrough. We're slowly getting a little bit of money, and our influence is absolutely terrible. I'm hoping with the actual harvest here, let's go ahead and prioritize this yard, and let's go ahead and buff it so that there's a room to store this cannabis. I was hoping that we would get this pig done, and let's speed boost that. Yeah, look at how fast they go when they're speed boost. Good, and this should allow them to clean this cannabis up is what I'm hoping. And what we should see is the influence should immediately start to go up as houses upgrade. Yeah, check that out. So even more so than the money, the influence is probably our big thing right now. Because doubling our influence is just basically free money in a way. And we got to get this all put away before the spring. Otherwise, we're going to run into issues. Let's, we've got the laborers. I don't know what they're doing. But thankfully, you know, we're going into the year 7. We're going into it with meds left over. We're going into it with coal. We're going into it with food. So we're in good shape there. We will need another house this year. Let's go ahead and plan for that down. Not an actual storage yard. Let's build a house over here. Place that completely in the wrong spot. Let's try that again. Yeah, right there. And then we're going to look at once that one's built, because that will prep us for this area right here, where we're going to place more fruit gatherers. Then what we can do is kind of come into this area with probably another cannabis, as well as some more actual, probably some more medical herbs, as it looks like we're still kind of on that edge. We're going to pause it for a second while we take a look at our tech. Looking at the upgrades, let's grab cabbage for another food source. We'll come back for mushroom sterilization. We'll grab the 3 and people. We'll grab the sustainability. Let's drop the sustainability into our actual coal burner. We're not going to take these sheep until later on, as we have enough leather to maintain us for quite a while, and I think that we're going to actually run into issues, and I don't need wool on top of that. So in here, we're going to want some farms. Let's drop our trees as we build a farm. And what I think is, if we can nab this block right here, we'll do a 6x8, and we'll actually do 2 of them, and we'll try to build these over the actual course of the winter. So we're not going to worry about them too early, and let's get 2 storage down. We can probably unpause it now that everything's kind of gone by. We want one of these to be medical herbs and one of these to be cannabis. And we're going to pair them up with the same thing in their storage yard. So go ahead and disallow all, and then we just want cannabis on this one. Now, we will need a house over here, so let's go ahead and plan on something about... Yeah, that's 100%. And then if we place something right here, yeah, we're still at 100%. So just kind of a planning for the future that we're going to place a house there. Let's plan on a road, and we'll kind of connect these up, and we'll probably want to connect this kind of over, as it doesn't look like it chops down a whole lot of trees. Let's bring them back as that gets started. We're coming up on 40 people. Let's go ahead and bring one more labor on board. I think that kind of would suit. And taking a look at our housing situation, we're ready for the middle age. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's activate the cabbage. Let's go back to the tech tree, pick up mushroom sterilization so that when we hit the middle age, we can go for middle age, then agricultural revolution, so that we can place down some granaries to push our production of our farms even further. I think that's kind of the route we want to go. We are early autumn. We have 2 builders. This pig is finally going. We're going to need 2 passion books for that and 2 passion books for this pig ranch. Kind of had a bad run this episode of passion books, where last time we had a ton of them. This we have not had like hardly any, because we need more for the tools, which are holding stable, and we need more for the actual pig ranches. Gotta tell you, I'm a little disappointed we haven't found more. We've got some stone up here. Let's grab that now that we're coming into autumn. Let's actually queue up all of it that we can to try to get to where we get enough for this 168 to make the extra wide shaft, because that should move this batch hopefully closer to the 30 mark is what I'm hoping. Yeah, look at all the stuff getting cleared now that we bought that territory. Oh, look at all that stone. Yes, please. Brings us up to 123. We're going to let it go a little bit further. I'm thinking we'll try to let this get up to 200 before we actually take it. Let's pause it real quick as we're in early winter. All right, all this stuff built. We've got no builders. Wow, that's actually pretty good. It's exactly what we want. We want to maintain where laborers are not being utilized as much as possible so that when spring hits and they do the shift, they immediately go back to their workforce. Let's grab the middle age. We've got our 200 stone. Let's take a look. It's 23 right now. This brings it up to 30. Yes, please. It's an extra 7 over 12 runs. That's almost an extra 100 per year. I think that would be 12 runs, so 70 plus 14, so 84 extra a year. If we place another passion book in there, which we could nab one out of here, brings that up to 32. I think that we might maintain stone now. I think that we'll be in good shape to kind of keep stone tools in check, as we're at least maintaining them right now, and it looks like we're maintaining medicine. And hopefully with that, we'll be able to bank up enough stone tools to get to where we can place down. We're going to have to place down a granary right here and a granary over here. We'll take the immigrants, as it should place us up around 40. There's my passion book. Yes, please. And we're going to immediately place that right back in that pig ranch. That was ironic. Maybe next spring we'll get another one. I think that's kind of the hope. And oh, here we go. I was going to say, why aren't they actually producing? But they're starting. Hopefully with those, what we'll get is we'll get to where, you know, we're still early summer and we're just hitting that edge. So hopefully with that, we'll maintain. And for the middle age, I'm thinking that the bonuses are going to be geologist, which will be 50% reduction, or a bonus where if you have a granary within range of a farm, you get a 10% bonus. And I don't think we need to worry about geologists, as we're not trading off our metal and our coal, or in our actual stone. Since we're not trading it, I don't think we're going to go through an exorbitant amount. So I don't think the geologist is going to be important. But a big part of our maintaining our society is going to be having medicine. And at least the first part of it, as again, we're late summer and we just don't have any medicine, is going to be through agricultural means. So I think the boost from the actual granary is going to be the way, as I absolutely cannot get words out of my mouth. I almost have enough influence to grab this. Thankfully, instead of the 9 that we were producing when we took it, we're up to 29. So probably another cycle or two, we'll be able to buy this, and then we'll move our next fruit gatherers into here. Let's take a look and see if we can get... There's one fruit gather. Not ready for another pig ranch. They take up a lot of territory. Let's pick up the hunting lodge. One more fruit gather, and what is okay? I'm kind of a little leery about that, and let's pick up that last one. That should be good for right now. And caravan, we're going to refuse that. Did we pick up enough? Oh man, nickel and diming it. 4 more. Give me a random roll and just give me 4, please. And then that will actually put us in here. Now I think that, yeah, we've got stone here. We've got stone in this one, and then I think we've got stone up in this one. Yeah, let's take in the geologist. Is definitely just doesn't need to be a thing. Our medical herbs was good. And I'm thinking going into year 9, I think we need one more labor. Let's take a look at what that actually does to our job priorities. So it looks like coal is passed by because we're at our limit, which is okay. But it looks like all the rest, it kind of puts us in an okay shape. Why do we have somebody working at a farm in the middle of the winter? Oh, and here we go, middle age. So again, agriculturalist for the bonus to the granary. And then alcohol appreciation is probably the better between the two, as if we were selling pottery and we were selling our tools, I think craftsmanship would be better. But I think once we get tools, I don't think that it's going to be an issue. So I think the overall, as this affects 3 things, I think that's probably better. To be honest, these cards are really in line with each other, where they're really balanced to where they're very equal, is to be honest. And but taking alcohol appreciation is what we're going to do. All right, unlocks wild cards. We will take the immigrants, and we're going to pause it while we place down a house. There's our next passion book. Yes, please. And that one, I think, yeah, let's drop it in the tool workshop here. That should at least maintain that, and we need one more house. Now, this one over here seems like it's maintaining these ones. Maybe the issue over here is the fact that we don't have enough houses. So I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to place another house over here. See if that helps these actually maintain a little bit better, like maybe we've got some labor issues or something. Food is kind of a little bit low, but that's kind of to be expected. And let's go ahead and go into the tech tree, grab agricultural, which we're on 10 times, so probably a little over a minute. We've got stone to build our first one. We should have enough influence now that we can buy this property. And what we want to do is get our hunting lodge down first, as it gives the actual buffs, and we're going to go ahead and slow build these fruit gatherers. It's going to be okay that they kind of build over time, but it's just going to be important that we get them down. Let's unpause so that the last one propagates there. It's a weird bug in the game. I'm hoping they work that out at some point in time, but I've got some programming background, so I kind of understand what causes it. It's just kind of weird and buggy to see it, and I don't want to grab that stone going forward until the winter, as we're mid-spring, and I don't want to take people away from doing what they're doing. Let's go ahead and close back, or put back on our trees, and yeah, this one's going. Let's speed buff it, as I don't want people moving out, because yeah, Bob left your town homeless. That was my fear. I'm hoping with this one over here, we can just immediately go for a granary instead of going for storage. That'd be the optimal. Now, we're not to where we can assign delivery options yet. That's something that we're going to get down in the future. But I think we're in a good spot to go ahead and call this episode. I'd like to thank everybody for joining. I'm really excited as to where we've kind of come in this episode. Let me go ahead and pause it. And we'll see you in the next episode, where we're going to continue our progression down to this iron. We're probably going to nab this area, which is really, really expensive, and then probably this area, and maybe the cocoa. Probably my goal would be at least these two in the next episode, possibly this one going forward, trying to get down to iron. And looking at the size of that, I can almost guarantee you that's going to be like a 2,000 to 3,000 gold tile. But again, thank you for joining, and we'll see you in the next episode.